There is a truth so dark, so unsettling, that most men refuse to even look it in the eye. It is the truth that people do not obey kindness. They do not obey fairness. They do not obey reason. They obey power, whether they admit it or not. And there is one trick, buried in the writings of a man demonized for centuries, that shows exactly how to bend people's will without lifting a sword, without raising your voice, without even asking. That man was Niccolò Machiavelli, a name that, for centuries, has dripped with poison. To call someone Machiavellian is to accuse them of being ruthless, manipulative, cunning. And yet, buried beneath the insults, Machiavelli left behind something most men today desperately need, but will never dare touch: the mechanics of control. The secret currents that decide who leads and who kneels. And here's the forbidden truth. The reason you feel ignored, dismissed, stepped on, overlooked, is not because people don't understand you. It's because they already do. They see that you do not know how to command obedience. They feel it in your presence. And in a world built on dominance and survival, you either learn this skill, or you will forever be the one obeying. In this video, we enter the shadows with Machiavelli. Not as a history lesson, not as dusty philosophy, but as a weapon, one you can either master or fall victim to. Because once you understand this trick, you will see human behavior with terrifying clarity, and you will never be able to unsee it. Machiavelli lived in a world where mercy was a luxury and power was survival. Renaissance Italy was not the romantic paradise painted in tourist guides. It was a blood-soaked chessboard, carved into fragments of warring city-states. Betrayal, assassinations, shifting alliances, this was daily life. A ruler who hesitated was devoured. A leader who clung to morality for its own sake was erased from history. Machiavelli served in the Florentine Republic as a diplomat, an observer of kings, popes, mercenaries, and tyrants. He saw rulers rise overnight and collapse by dawn. He studied what made men obey and what made them turn against their masters. And from this savage reality, he distilled a teaching that still terrifies the modern mind. People are not ruled by love or by fairness or even by gratitude. They are ruled by fear and perception. The trick he revealed was simple, but merciless. If you wish to command obedience, you must become untouchable in the eyes of others. You must craft an image so formidable, so unshakable, that those beneath you submit before they even test your strength. The surface, what they see, matters more than the hidden reality. Machiavelli wrote it plainly. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see but few can feel. What does this mean? It means people obey not the truth of who you are, but the illusion you project. You can be weak in secret, trembling in private, plagued by doubt, but if you wear the mask of certainty, of force, of inevitability, others will bend. This is the dark trick, the art of controlling appearances, of shaping perception until reality itself bows before it. Consider this. Machiavelli did not advise his prince to be truly virtuous. He advised him to appear virtuous. Appear just, appear merciful, appear courageous, because the masses do not have the time or the access to see the man behind the mask. They obey the mask itself, and the ruler who masters this illusion wields a weapon far sharper than any sword. This is why Machiavelli remains hated, feared, and misunderstood. His writings shattered the comforting illusion that men are noble, that they respond to pure goodness. He ripped the veil and exposed the machinery underneath. People are fickle, selfish, short-sighted. They will betray for gain. They will abandon you for comfort. They will resent you the moment you no longer serve their interests. To survive, you cannot rely on their loyalty. You must create conditions where disobedience costs them more than submission. Look at the lesson closely. The one who controls perception controls behavior. Power is not only in armies or wealth. It is in the stories people believe about you. A weak man with the mask of authority will command more obedience than a strong man who shows his fear. A mediocre leader who seems decisive will be followed further than a brilliant leader who hesitates. People prefer certainty, even if it is false, over truth that feels unstable. Machiavelli illustrated this through one of his most famous warnings. It is safer to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Love is fragile, built on shifting emotions. Fear, on the other hand, is rooted in survival. It grips deeper. Love makes people forgive, yes, but fear makes them obey. And obedience is what preserves order, protects power, sustains control. Do you see the depth of this teaching? Machiavelli was not merely describing rulers of his time. He was describing human nature itself. Look beyond kings and princes. Look at your workplace, your relationships, your social circles. Who is respected? Who is obeyed? It is rarely the kindest, the gentlest, the most honest. It is those who carry themselves with authority, who impose invisible boundaries, who radiate an aura that dares you to cross it. This is why weakness is punished in silence. This is why kindness, when not backed by strength, is trampled. People sense when you lack the spine to enforce your words. And once they sense it, they stop listening. Machiavelli's brilliance was in articulating what most men never want to admit. Your intentions don't matter. Your goodness doesn't matter. What matters is the perception of your strength. The dark trick, then, is not brute force. It is the orchestration of perception, the ability to disguise your weaknesses, to magnify your presence, to control the image others see until obedience flows not from persuasion, but inevitability. Think about how unsettling this is. It means that in every human interaction, someone is shaping the frame, directing the perception. It means the man who seems fearless might be consumed by terror behind closed doors, but because he never shows it, you obey. It means the leader you admire for his confidence may be no wiser than you, but he has mastered the mask, and that is enough. And so the question begins to press. If you are ignored, overlooked, dismissed, what mask have you been wearing? And who placed it on your face? Because Machiavelli's insight is merciless. Obedience is never given freely. It is engineered. If you fail to engineer it, someone else will. If Machiavelli's dark trick feels distant, locked in dusty history books, let me assure you, it is alive today. More alive than ever. Because the dynamics of power he described in Renaissance Italy are the same forces shaping our relationships, our workplaces, and even our inner struggles. The only difference is that today we are too polite, too civilized, too self-deceived to admit it. We like to believe that society has evolved, that manipulation and power plays are relics of monarchs and generals. But peel away the surface, and you'll see the same game, dressed in modern clothes. Consider the man who confesses everything to his girlfriend in the name of honesty. He believes vulnerability will earn love, that openness guarantees loyalty. But often the opposite happens. The more he reveals his every weakness, his every insecurity, the more the attraction withers. Why? Because Machiavelli's trick is at play. People respect mystery, not exposure. They obey strength, not fragility. When you put your entire self on the table, you strip away the aura that commands respect. In trying to be loved, you end up being dismissed. Now think about the workplace. The colleague who announces every plan, every intention, every frustration. He imagines this makes him transparent, a team player. But soon, he finds others quietly using his openness against him. His ideas get stolen. His weaknesses become whispered gossip. Meanwhile, the colleague who speaks little, who keeps his cards close, begins to attract authority without asking. Machiavelli would nod knowingly. Concealment creates power. Silence makes people fill in the gaps, and their imagination builds an image of strength far greater than what you may actually possess. But perhaps the most brutal application of this principle is within relationships between men and women. Modern dating culture tells men to be endlessly vulnerable, endlessly available, endlessly expressive of their feelings. Yet, deep down, most men sense a contradiction. The more they do this, the more respect they lose. Women may say they want total openness, but attraction rarely blossoms in the soil of complete exposure. Attraction thrives on polarity, on a sense of mystery, on strength that does not constantly demand reassurance. A man who cannot conceal his fears, who cannot master his emotions, becomes predictable. And predictability, in the realm of desire, is death. This doesn't mean you should become cold, manipulative, or robotic. That is the misunderstanding. What Machiavelli shows us is something subtler. You must guard your core. You must control what is revealed and when. Because once everything is exposed, you surrender the leverage that keeps others attentive, curious, and, yes, obedient to your influence. Society, too, mirrors this game. Look at politics. Look at leaders who command millions with speeches that reveal just enough to inspire, but never enough to be fully known. They speak in shadows, in carefully crafted ambiguity. They let the people project their hopes, their fears, their longings onto them. And in this space of partial concealment, their power grows. Meanwhile, the politician who speaks too directly, who shows every card, becomes disposable. Transparency feels noble, but in politics, it is suicide. The truth is, our culture despises this idea because it sounds manipulative, unfair, even cruel. But that is precisely why most men remain powerless, because they cling to ideals of purity in a world run by strategy. They hope honesty alone will protect them. They believe goodness will carry them forward. And when they are betrayed, ignored, or cast aside, they wonder why life is so merciless. Machiavelli's dark trick explains it. Mercy, honesty, exposure. These are virtues, but only when deployed from a position of strength. Without strength, they are shackles. To bear your soul without power is to hand someone else the knife they will later use against you. Let's bring this down to the personal. Imagine a man who struggles with rejection. Every time he dates a woman, he reveals too much too soon. He speaks of his struggles, his loneliness, his need for validation. He does this because he craves closeness. But Machiavelli would whisper, "You have already lost. You have surrendered your power," because instead of drawing her into his world, he has thrown himself at her feet. And in doing so, he kills the very attraction he seeks to ignite. Now imagine another man who, though equally human and vulnerable, chooses carefully what he shares. He reveals pieces of himself in layers, never all at once. He does not lie, but he does not drown the other in his need for validation. He allows space for curiosity. He allows mystery to breathe. And in this space, respect and attraction grow. He does not force obedience. It arises naturally. This is the modern battlefield where Machiavelli's insights play out daily. It is not about kings and wars. It is about men navigating love, careers, and identity in a world that punishes weakness and rewards mastery. It is about knowing that in every conversation, every relationship, there is a silent negotiation of power. And those who reveal everything too quickly, too desperately, lose that negotiation before it even begins. But here lies the danger. Once you understand this trick, it is tempting to abuse it, to conceal everything, to play with people's emotions like a chessboard, to become the cold manipulator who delights in control. But this path too destroys you, because power without humanity breeds paranoia. If no one truly knows you, if you are always playing a role, eventually you become a stranger to yourself. And the game that once gave you strength becomes your cage. The balance, then, is mastery without cruelty. Concealment not as deception, but as discipline. You are not obliged to reveal every thought, every fear, every weakness. You reveal strategically, in ways that deepen respect rather than dissolve it. You control your presence. You let mystery speak louder than words. That is the modern application of Machiavelli's dark trick. Not manipulation for its own sake, but self-preservation in a world that unconsciously preys on the exposed. The reality is this: men today are more exposed than ever. Social media has turned vulnerability into performance. Every thought, every struggle, every insecurity is shared publicly, often in the name of authenticity. And yet, look closer. Those who overshare rarely command respect. They attract sympathy, yes, pity, yes, but rarely admiration. Meanwhile, those who remain enigmatic, those who choose carefully what they reveal, become magnetic. Their silence speaks louder than the noise of constant exposure. Machiavelli's lesson cuts deeply here. If you want obedience, if you want respect, if you want to move through this world with power, you cannot afford to be an open book. You must write your story with deliberate ink. You must reveal chapters slowly, leaving enough unspoken to keep others turning the pages. This is not cruelty. It is survival. It is the understanding that human beings, whether in love, work, or politics, do not follow those they fully understand. They follow those who carry a shadow, those who guard their depths. And if you wish to rise above being dismissed, betrayed, or ignored, you must learn this art. So when you feel the urge to explain yourself, to reveal everything in the hope of being accepted, pause. Ask yourself, what would Machiavelli do? He would conceal. He would let silence protect him. He would understand that in every interaction, power is not given. It is taken step by step through discipline, control, and mystery. And the haunting truth is this: in our modern world, ruled by exposure, The few who master concealment will always stand above the rest. Power is not an accident. It is not something you stumble into. It is a discipline, an art, a weapon sharpened against the chaos of life. Machiavelli did not write his ideas as philosophy for armchair thinkers. He wrote them as survival codes for rulers who stood one misstep away from death. And if you strip away the castles, the thrones, and the blood-soaked history, what remains is a set of rules that can decide whether you are obeyed or ignored, respected or trampled, feared or forgotten. The first lesson is simple and cruel: never beg for loyalty. You command it by being the one others cannot afford to betray. If people sense you need their approval, their love, their friendship, you have already placed yourself beneath them. They may smile at you, but inside they hold the reins. Respect is not asked for. It is taken by force of presence, by the silent weight of someone who could walk away at any moment. If you wish to be obeyed, you must stand as though you do not need anyone at all. Second, conceal more than you reveal. Men destroy themselves by spilling every thought, every weakness, every fear. They believe honesty makes them loved. Machiavelli knew better. He understood that mystery is not decoration, it is armor. When people cannot predict you, when they do not fully understand what drives you, they hesitate. They second-guess themselves. That hesitation is power. You do not need to manipulate directly. You only need to leave enough of yourself in shadow that others dare not test you. Third, be willing to act when others freeze. Most men are paralyzed by the thought of risk. They overthink, they calculate, they wait until the moment is gone. Machiavelli's prince survives not because he is smarter than his rivals, but because he moves while they hesitate. In life, the man who dares to act appears larger than he is. He looks like he knows what he's doing, even if he doesn't. That illusion alone can make others follow him. Boldness, even reckless boldness, often accomplishes what caution never can. Fourth, use fear with precision. To command others, you do not need constant cruelty. Too much fear creates rebellion. Too little creates disrespect. The art is balance. Enough fear that people know disobedience has consequences, but enough restraint that they still believe loyalty benefits them. You may never rule a kingdom, but this principle applies everywhere. In business, in friendships, in relationships, people must feel that betraying you costs more than staying by your side. Never threaten without the will to deliver. Never punish without purpose. Fifth, control appearances, even when you cannot control reality. Machiavelli understood that men live more by what they see than by what is true. Perception is reality. If you seem strong, you are strong in the eyes of the world. If you appear calm, even while breaking inside, others believe you hold the reins. The truth of your inner chaos does not matter. What matters is what others think they see. Learn to master the mask. Not to deceive for pleasure, but to shield yourself from the claws of those who would strike at your vulnerabilities. Sixth, detach from the illusion of fairness. Life is not fair. Power is not shared equally. And those who cling to the fantasy of fairness are eaten alive by those who know better. Machiavelli teaches a bitter medicine. If you want to shape your life, you must be willing to accept that justice does not protect you. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is coming to hand you respect. You take what you can, you protect what you hold, and you build a world where your strength sets the terms. Seventh, recognize the danger of kindness. Compassion has its place, but when wielded without discipline it becomes weakness. Be kind when it serves a purpose, not when it undermines your authority. To lead with nothing but softness is to invite wolves to devour you. But when kindness comes from a position of strength, it becomes a weapon far more effective than cruelty. People respect generosity that can vanish at a moment's notice. They despise generosity that reeks of desperation. Eighth, endure solitude. To command others, you must not need them for validation. Machiavelli understood that the ruler is, in the end, alone. He may be surrounded by allies, advisors, even lovers, but in the final hour of decision he stands solitary. Most men cannot handle that weight. They rush to fill silence, to seek reassurance, to avoid the loneliness of command. But if you wish to be obeyed, you must master it. You must find peace in being unshaken, even when no one claps for you, even when no one stands beside you. And finally, the lesson that overshadows them all: never become predictable. Once people know exactly how you will react, you have surrendered the battlefield. They can control you by controlling the conditions. They can bait you, exploit your habits, strip you of your mystery. Machiavelli's genius was not in laying out one single tactic, but in reminding us that power belongs to those who are unreadable, who can bend and adapt while others remain rigid. To obey you, people must feel you are a storm they cannot map, a force they cannot reduce to a formula. These are not gentle truths. They are hard, uncomfortable, even ruthless. But the world does not reward softness without teeth. The men who ignore these rules find themselves abandoned, disrespected, betrayed. The men who master them may never wear crowns, but they will command rooms, bend circumstances, and walk with the strange gravity that makes others fall in line without ever knowing why. Machiavelli did not write to soothe. He wrote to prepare men for the brutality of reality. And if you can stomach these lessons, if you can bear the loneliness of power and the weight of fear, then you step into a life where obedience is not asked for. It happens quietly, naturally, because those around you cannot imagine doing otherwise. Power has always carried a certain stench. To speak of it openly, to admit you want it, is still considered shameful. We are taught to believe in kindness, in fairness, in harmony. But beneath that surface, the truth moves like a dark river. The world is not built on fairness. It is built on force, on perception, on fear and desire carefully balanced. And Machiavelli knew this better than anyone. He did not offer us comfort. He offered us clarity. The clarity that men who ignore power are doomed to be ruled by those who do not. That morality, stripped of strength, is just decoration. That to survive and to command respect, you must learn how obedience is born, not from love alone, not from trust alone, but from fear tempered with necessity. This is not a call to cruelty. Cruelty blinds. Violence without thought burns out quickly. But calculated strength, disciplined cunning, the willingness to appear harsher than you are, creates a shield that makes people fall in line. And in that shield, paradoxically, there can be stability, even peace. People obey not because they want to, but because they must. That is the darkness of Machiavelli's trick, to make obedience natural, effortless, invisible. A man who uses it wisely becomes untouchable. A man who ignores it is forever prey to those who don't. So ask yourself, in your relationships, do you inspire obedience or do you beg for approval? In your work, do people move when you speak or do they wait for you to be dismissed? In your own mind, do you command yourself with discipline or do you give in to weakness with excuses? Because here lies the haunting truth. If you cannot govern yourself, you will never govern others. If you cannot command your own instincts, your own laziness, your own fears, then the world will command them for you, and you will obey. Machiavelli whispers across the centuries, power does not ask for permission. It does not wait for you to feel ready. It belongs to the man who is willing to take it, to risk being hated, to risk being feared, in exchange for never again being invisible. So the choice stands before you, stark and unavoidable. Continue living in the dream of fairness, hoping the world will reward your good heart. Or wake up, sharpen your will, and step into the shadowed path of power, where men may despise you, but they will obey you. Because in the end, Machiavelli's dark trick is not about others. It is about you. The man who dares to embrace this truth will walk through life untouchable. The man who denies it will always bow, even as he insists he is free. The world is ruled by the few who understand this. The question is, will you be among them, or will you forever kneel?